welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with the reading for the collective energies of the inner child. So I did do a reading for the collective masculine and the collective feminine, and particularly in the masculine reading I felt like all of the archetypes were present except the inner child. It kind of gave me a feeling that like I couldn't really see what was happening to the inner child, and so I wanted to do a reading specifically dedicated to that. So I did already pull a card, and the card that came through was a card called the Cave. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's like inside this darkness you can just see these two eyes just peeking through. So it was kind of the vibe that I wanted to try to recreate for this reading. It gives me a feeling that the inner child is actually, what I'm hearing is that many are still in a state of abandonment, in a state of not being seen, being left behind, being trapped inside the darkness, and I'm hearing with nowhere to go. And so yeah, let's see if we can get some more messages here for the inner child, so that maybe we can begin to work more with this self, or these selves within ourselves. Oh my god, these selves within ourselves. Sometimes when I do these readings, it's just like words come out of me and I don't really understand it myself. Oh, that is so interesting. Underneath the deck is a Daughter of Cups. So this is an inner child, this is a page energy or an earth energy. And I associate that with the inner child because it's an energy that can grow naturally. That's kind of like a typical child energy, I find. It's something that it just needs what it needs, it just needs to get its needs met, and then it grows. That's it, you just need to care for it, and then it begins to grow and transform. That's kind of the energy of the inner child, because it's so abundant, it's so blessed, it's so, in a sense, destined, is what I'm feeling with this duck here. I don't know how well it comes through on the camera, but the duck, its reflection is a rainbow. It's like rainbow light. And so it's like, what I feel is like your destiny, our destiny, the destiny of our truest self, our inner child, is already written. It's already there. It's almost like our job is just to make sure that we meet the needs of the inner child, and then that destiny, those gifts, they will just begin to unfold. So let's see what more cards came through. There's one that I can't see yet, and then I have two here. So it's the Daughter of Swords, another child, and then the Three of Pentacles. It's interesting actually with the Three of Pentacles, because in a way I feel that it's very similar to the Cave energy. And again, I don't know what you can see on the screen, but behind me is kind of like, it's a mountain here, so it's almost like, it's a little bit like a cave going in, not quite, but a little bit. And it also really reminds me of this card. I'm hearing the foundations have been faulty. For many of us, it's like the foundation of the inner child, or it's like the foundation of our inner parents are faulty in a sense, and so they're not, at this point in time, for many, it's like many of our inner mother and inner father, let's say, they're not really able to kind of fulfill, or to fulfill the needs of the inner child. And I almost feel like it's because they're not even looking. Their eyes are not even on the inner child. That's why it's almost like, oh my God, yes. Because it's like this. It's almost like this inner child, it doesn't have a mirror. It has nothing, no kind of consciousness that reflects back to it. And so it's just looking out into darkness, but it's not being seen. And so it's almost like this inner child doesn't even know that it exists. It doesn't even have, it's like its consciousness is not yet ignited even. It doesn't know of its own purpose, it doesn't know of its own destiny, its own existence. And so that's why also it didn't come through, I feel, in the collective reading, because we're not looking at it, we're not taking the time to connect to it deeply enough, because there is some kind of, with the Three of Pentacles, like block within our foundation. But I'm not really understanding the Daughter of Swords. Maybe that's it though. Maybe it's like, because there is this block within the foundation, then we can't really make sense of our inner child in this kind of way yet. This is the Daughter of Swords, so using kind of our mental capacities. It's like the Daughter of Swords is non-existent because our foundation is blocking it. Our current state of mind kind of is blocking it, is what I'm feeling. So let's pull some more here. Wow, interesting. The Father of Swords comes out. He played a big role in the masculine reading. I feel like there is a lot of activations right now to our collective king energies. That masculine authority, that higher mind in a sense. So also underneath the deck was the Eight of Cups, and again with this kind of shadow mountain. A lot of Kesa mountains. The mountain is kind of like the mountain of achievement. So, but it's like the inner child is, at this point in time, it's below the mountain. It's inside the mountain. And maybe our mind is trying to reach the top of the mountain. Because I feel like the mountain itself, the stone, the dense materia, it's our existing system. It's who we have become and what we strive for as a result of kind of living in our current time and living in our current matrix. And so it's almost as if the mind might be on, actually with the Eight of Cups, it's like the mind is currently on, and I'm hearing our failures, where we weren't able to achieve what our matrix told us that we needed to achieve in order to be this king, or in order to be this some kind of an authority, I'm feeling. But that's not even where our purpose lies, is what I'm feeling. That's not even where our abundance lies. Because it's actually inside the cave. It's actually at the root of the mountain, inside, because the foundation of the mountain was faulty in and of itself. Or it's not necessarily that it was faulty, but it just didn't have room for the child archetype, you know, the divine child archetype. But there's also something else with the Father of Swords that I'm not really picking up on. I feel like there are still so many things kind of like just outside our current manifested mind. It's like, also, if you see here, like there are so many of these small like bubbles of light, or like these orbs in the air that we are not yet able to kind of, you know, consciously connect to through our mind. It's like we're being bathed in all of these different lights, and a lot of information is coming in, but because our mind is still so, in a sense, tainted by this old mountain, by this, you know, denser material, kind of our mind is still so rigid and just focused on the same old, same old. It's like it's not quite flexible enough to pick up on all of these messages. This is what it feels like. It feels like there is so much to learn with these two, the Father of Swords and the Page of Swords, and that they naturally walk hand in hand. But oh, I don't know, this is like, it's just right there, but still I can't. Oh, okay, so it's something with the sword, I feel. The sword of the Father of Swords. You know, the sword is made out of the rainbow. And the reflection of the Page of Cups is also the rainbow. And all of these kind of lights in the Page of Swords that are coming in, you know, they're also made of the rainbow. And so again, it's this ability to see ourselves in different lights and kind of see our different faces. And I think that means so many things, actually. You know, it can be said in many different ways, like the different phases of our lives, but it can also be that it's referring to our different faces, you know, our different, in a sense, potentials, the roles we could play, and maybe how they even are linked to, and in a sense I feel based on, or even tainted by, with the Eight of Cups, you know, by the past phases of our life. It's something there. It's something about, you know, going back to, it's like almost like going backwards in time, like to awaken our inner child fully. It's almost like we have to track our steps, our footsteps backwards. So it's like, instead of moving forward, you know, which the mountain would tell us to do, it's like, keep moving forward, keep moving towards the top. To activate the inner child, it's like, no, we have to go back. We have to go down. We have to go into the root, into the core of the earth, because the child is inside there. It's in the cave. And so I feel that there is a lot of energy here that's talking about actually reviewing and observing, you know, it's like, I feel like we're learning how to understand our mind, you know, how our mind works at this point in time. It's very important, because It's like to be able to see what, it's like we have to understand what we are, how our mind functions, to be able to see all the things that we are missing currently, in a sense, you know. And so to be able to see our mind, to be able to stand outside of our manifested mind, we have to constantly observe it, observe how it is functioning, you know, observe what stories it serves us, observe what goals it serves us, and then really also, I feel, begin to pinpoint what times, you know, what archetypes and densities those stories are linked to. You know, are those stories really that abundant? Are they linked to your inner child, you know, the part of you that will just naturally evolve if it's just given what it needs? I don't know, it's something about that. Let's pull one more card. I feel like this is a reading though that could go on forever, so I think I'll have to limit it at one point. Because there's so much to learn, I'm hearing. It's just so much to learn. Oh, I love it. The 9 of Swords coming out in reverse. And underneath the deck is the Father of Wands. That's interesting. Another father. The Father of Wands, you know, I feel like the Father of Wands is really about observing our desires. And I feel that this actually came out linked to something I said before. What did I say again? I said something about like to investigate whether or not the goals of our mind are of the vibration and of the density that we actually want to manifest from. It's something about that. It's something about how observing our own, in a sense, desire nature, our own wants. And again, I feel like this is very much linked to the mountain, you know, all of this achievement, the top of the mountain. How observing that and understanding that is really going to help us to not be so fearful of not reaching that. Because it's almost as if the spell will be broken with the lightning here. It's like when we see where those kinds of ideas originated from, when we see that they are kind of the old time that's not coming with us, it's like it's going to be so much easier to stand with the fear that arises when we don't follow these demands of our mind. Because I find that that's always the case, you know, if I say no to doing something that my mind tells me that I absolutely have to do, you know, it's like you have to do this, if not, then there's a lot of fear that is produced. But it's kind of my job to teach my body and my mind to understand that not following this goal is not going to lead to your death. You know, you're safe even if you choose not to follow it. And it's almost like the only way I can teach that, actually I think that that's to my inner children, to teach my inner children that is by showing it to them. Because it's like I said in the beginning, the inner children, it's almost like they don't even know that they exist yet. They don't even have this consciousness yet. And so it's like they aren't receptive to words. They don't communicate via words. It's like they only communicate via, you know, it's like feeling and the state of the body. You know, it's like the inner child just needs to have its needs met, you know. It's like it just needs to have the right kind of environment to grow. And so I feel like with these two fathers, it's a lot about working with the mind, you know, or understanding the mind, and not letting kind of the mind, or I don't know, it's like understanding the mind will allow us to create a much better environment for our inner child. And it's almost as if when the environment in our body is right, that's when the inner child begins to activate. Because it's for the new time, you know, it's for the time when it can be safe, when it can actually get its needs met. And until that is actually, you know, the truth within our body, it feels as if the child will remain hidden inside a cave, you know, just looking, waiting to see. It's like, do I even exist? This is what I feel like. Oh, I feel so sorry for the inner child. Well, hopefully I think that we will begin to be able to create better environments for it soon. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Take care and goodbye.